beats.
I like how that sounds.
Yeah, I know. I like that too. You know, that's futuristic. You know?
It was.
Going on, people.
I am not a man. I am a Martian. How y'all doing today?
What up, though?
How you been, D?
I've been good. You know me, bro. Any day above the ground is a day that I rejoice in. So I'm good. I'm good.
That's good to hear.
I don't think I have anything to complain about.
Mm-hmm.
Nah. I mean, I got little things to complain about, but it's stupid stuff like people don't know how to drive. We don't need to go into that whole topic. Now I'm good though, brother. How you feeling?
Honestly,
Yeah.
this week was very trying.
Very trying.
Blessed as always. I'm here, living, blessed and highly favored. But I had a summer cold this week.
You had a summer cold?
Yeah, you ever had one of those?
Nah, because it's not the summer. So.
The heat is ratcheting up, Dante.
Oh.
Okay, yeah, so my body, every year around this time when the temperatures start going from really like cold to /warm to like hot, I get real sick. So obviously with everything going on, I had to make sure it wasn't COVID. It wasn't COVID.
Oh, that's good to know. 'Cause I'm sitting not that far from you, so
Maskless.
Sure. You know what I'm saying?
I'm vaccinated. So let me stop.
Are you though?
I
You
am.
actually are.
Oh shit! I was one of like what the first 150 people in Jersey to get vaccinated.
What arm you gonna grow from the back of your mind? And granted, you saw I skipped 3, right?
It's a third leg.
Nope. See, that's why. Someone told me you were gonna take that route.
Anyway,
you know, someone told me you was gonna take that route.
But on top of that, that happened. A few things in my personal life, and you know what? It's pretty good that let me rephrase that. It's not good that those things happen because they sucked. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, off of what today's topic is going to be for episode 5,
mm-hmm.
We're 5 episodes in, baby.
Yo, that's right. So I'm 5 of them.
Hey, man. So today, with it being Mental Health Month,
mm-hmm.
we decided to focus on today's episode about mental health. Just getting into it. Mental health, even with it being more talked about now, I want to say in the last 10 years or so. Prior to that, it was, especially in the black community, it was always something that was pushed to the side. Mm-hmm. If you dealt with things that was out of the norm of, well, just pray on it, then you were looked at as crazy, or you just needed to get the fuck over it, what people like to say. And I like that it's being spoken about more now than it just being shoved to the side. People are more aware of what's going on. You know, just in general, I know both of us have dealt with it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, I can definitely attest to my trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I mean, it all depends, because I believe we talked about this a little bit in episode 4. Check that out; it got pretty intense
because people don't like to listen.
No, because people don't like to.
You know what's funny?
Understand that.
Hold
their
up.
Opinion
Listen,
may not be correct.
Listen, you know what's funny? Me and D had that long ass 2-episode debate, 2 parts. Excuse me.
Same episode.
Same episode, 2 parts. We had that 2-part debate.
Uh-huh.
We were supposed to be talking about which is worse, being a Jets or a Knicks fan.
That's your fault.
And then this man wanted to bring up Ronaldo Bachman, and I'm so happy Kwame Brown came out and been saying the shit he's been saying the last week, because he's been proving my point all week. Yes.
Yo, we're not going to go into it because that's not what it's about, but all I'm going to say is this. Kwame clearly stated that it was Jordan's fault. You stated that it's the organization.
Who was running the Wizards when he got drafted?
But he didn't blame it on them.
Who was running the team?
But who did he blame it on?
Stop it.
No.
Was Jordan not Isaiah Thomas's role?
Who? No, he wasn't.
Yes, he was.
Nah, he wasn't.
When Kwame Brown got drafted, Jordan was the president of the Wizards. You forgot that happened? Yes. And then he came out of retirement as president and played.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So in other words, I didn't hear. I'm just going by what Kwame Brown said. I didn't hear him say the organization is the reason why.
Who was running the team?
All I'm going off of is what he said. He stated, I'm not going. He stated that it was Jordan's fault.
I think you need to go re-listen to what he said.
What? So then you tell me what.
You know what? We getting off topic.
You started it. I wasn't going to do it.
We getting off topic.
You did it.
Anyway,
I wasn't going to do it.
but in his rant, he did speak on things about mental health because at the end of his rant, in the second video of his, I think it was like 3 parts. He's basically saying that a lot of people wouldn't be able to deal with what he dealt with because, and I didn't even realize it. Mm-hmm. He was like, even with all the crap and shit he dealt with in Washington, he played in the NBA for 12 seasons.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, Kwame Brown gets shitting on so much, I didn't realize his career was that long.
But the thing about it is, this goes, I guess, to today's topic. It might have started off tumultuous with Jordan, but he was able to last 12 seasons.
And scoring, not scoring, that's hard to do, bruh.
I mean,
think about it. In professional sports, on average, and we're not talking about superstars, on average, those players only last 2 or 3 seasons.
Ooh.
A professional athlete on average only lasts about 2 or 3 seasons. You got to remember, in any sport, no, stop.
You saying all of them?
When we do averages, you have to equate for everybody, not just the stars. So when people get in their mindset, oh, the stars are always there, so that means, oh, the players are there long. No, if you do the math, more players on the bench. And the bench, other bench players that actually see the floor, they don't last as long. But you don't realize that because you're used to the bigger names and even the sub names like let's say somebody who come off the bench who plays for a while, but not necessarily a 6 man, like a Lindsey Hunter back in the day for the Pistons. His career is able to last a little bit longer, but the people right behind him, they don't last that long. On average, professional athletes only play about 2 or 3 seasons.
I mean, I'm gonna need some statistics on that.
Yeah,
that sounds mad wild. Like,
because you don't think about it.
Nah, I've just seen players who don't even get no burn that be in the league for mad long.
Yeah.
So, I guess maybe you're right in terms of average, but I just can't see it being 2 or 3.
Because it's
mad. Like, you get into the league at 18, you mean tell me you're done by 21?
Think of it this.
Let's say that's happening.
Think of it this way. There's a reason why the draft every year, those rookies are able to get spots on those teams. Where do you think them open spots are coming from?
People who got dropped.
Which means every year.
No. We won't go every year.
They have to drop players.
And they go to the G League or something. That's not dropping them. That's reassigning them to a different
league. Talking about in the NBA.
Yeah, but they send them to
the G League only been around, 10, 12 years?
Because it used to be called the D League.
Even when it was the D League, it's still only been around. It hasn't been around for more than 15 years yet.
Nah, see, we're going to need some stats. We're going to have to start pulling up some stats when you say these
anyway, this episode's not on sports.
Listen,
you brought it up.
I was not trying to. I simply dropped that people should watch episode 4, and I was going to move along, son. What'd you do? You took it and started dragging it and started talking about it again. Listen. I was not going to bring it up. Listen. I just said I did an episode plug. I want people to see it. That's all.
Listen.
What I was going to say is,
yes,
we've all had things that we've dealt with. Personally, when it comes to mental health, I guess the best way I can say this is I believe it's not necessarily survival of the fittest, but I believe when it comes to mental health, the strong survive certain things. Now, the reason why I say it like that is because I've dealt with anxiety, depression, stress, all of those things, and I found a way to not necessarily have them be as bad as they used to be because I figured out what caused those things. It's going to sound mean, but personally when it comes to mental health, I believe if you work on the things that you need to work on, then it won't be an issue for you.
That's not mean. That's
what I mean by that is, again, because I know people are going to listen to that. I want to elaborate on what I'm saying. What I mean by that is, if, I've gone through, I haven't gone through what everybody else has gone through probably, but I've gone through some shit. And because of it, I've learned the do's and don'ts for my life, the way that I move, my mannerisms, the things that I believe, the things that I don't believe. And because of it, when it comes to mental health, dealing with certain things, I haven't dealt with everything, so I can't talk about everything. But when it comes to those things, I believe that in order for you to combat a lot of the things that some people deal with, it revolves around the confidence that you have within yourself. Because if you know that you have the ability to complete a task or figure out whatever's wrong with you or change a behavior for yourself, it won't seem as though it's like really hard to do, in the sense that you can't get it done. If you believe that you can achieve certain things in certain areas like stress and anxiety, that again I can speak from, won't be as prominent as other things. Granted, there's a lot of other things that people deal with, and there's depression and all of those other items that people are dealing with. But what I'm saying is, I personally believe if you work on like having a mental dexterity practice, or meditation, or training your brain to not necessarily think about the negative things, I believe personally that you can find a way to shape your mental health without necessarily, I don't believe in medications, number one, so I don't believe anyone should be getting any kind of medications when dealing with like depression or anxiety. And I say that because you can find a way to get around those things, but first you have to understand what's causing it to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know what the problem is, then you can say, all right, well, here's what I can do to fix it.
Facts.
But when you deal with certain things and you don't acknowledge with what's wrong, it's
Mm-hmm.
hard to figure out, to come up with a solution for something that you don't know. You don't even know what the problem is, so how can you come up with a solution for that kind of problem? So I just think for mental health, it really revolves around, what do you want to do? Like, what do you want to accomplish in your life? For example, I know I'm kind of going off on some kind of tangents, but where I'm going with this is, there's something that I learned about anxiety, stress, and worry, right? The three of those are actually cousins: worry, stress, and anxiety.
Okay.
They all stem from the same place.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think there's a spectrum. Worry starts it, stress is in the middle, anxiety is at the top of the list. Worrying, stress, and anxiety all stem from two things: fear, and having a lack of control.
Mm-hmm.
You worry about stuff, or you stress about stuff that happened or that's going to happen. The reason why you have anxiety is because you're thinking of how can you solve something before it's even happened. You know how hard that is? It's hard as hell to try to solve a problem that hasn't even addressed, like you haven't even addressed yet. So some people, personally, the studies that I've done, anxiety for me stemmed from this idea that I wanted to control things that haven't even happened yet.
Okay.
So it's like, yo, I'm so nervous about this, or I'm stressed out about this, and yo, that shit hasn't even happened to me yet.
Mm-hmm.
So because of it, I can't do anything about it. Not having that like power to do something within your own life, yo,
Mm-hmm.
that shit is stressful as hell in itself.
Facts.
But if you find out what's stressing you out or what's worrying you, and you say to yourself, well, can I do anything about it? If the answer is yes, well, what am I going to do about it?
Mm-hmm.
If the answer is no, then don't worry about it right now. Because if you can't figure it out, all you're going to do is stress yourself out more. I know it's going to sound like, so you advocated for not doing nothing. No, what I'm saying is, if you can do something about it, do something about it. But if you can't, chalk it up as, right now I can't figure this out, and that's okay too. But get back to your center of being happy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't know all the answers.
We don't.
But I personally feel like if you can find your happiness, that can help you with those mental stressful kind of moments. Bro, I don't speak for everybody. I just know myself and the shit that I had to deal with. The moments that I went to dark places and, beat myself up and had them crazy ass, wild ass thoughts that I've had before. I know what it stemmed from. You know what I'm saying? So now that I know why it happened, or why I thought the way that I did, it doesn't happen to me as frequently because I figured out why it happened in the first place. So what I'm going with this is, mental health for me is important because if you know yourself, you know your vices, you know how to get back to your center, you can always figure out a way to get to your next level.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody thinks of it like that. We also live in a culture where, a complaining culture. I used to be a part of it. I say I want my life to change, but I don't want to do nothing about it. That right there is going to deteriorate your mental health. You want more, but you're not doing anything about it. That's that cognitive dissonance. Your mind is telling you to do something, but your body's not doing what your mind's telling you to do. Those two things aren't interacting the way that they should be. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm happy you said what you said as far as you knowing what you need to do and the proper steps to make a difference in your life, but you're not putting yourself in the position to make that change happen. We've always been transparent on every episode, so I'm gonna just be all the way real. I was diagnosed with depression in 2017. Just like you said, they tried to put me on medication. I looked my physician in the face. I'm like, I'm not doing that. I watched people get hooked to those things and they become so dependent on them. There's no coming back from it. I never wanted to do that. So the next step was I have to put myself in the best positions to learn how to combat it. People ask me now, like, yo, do you still deal with it? Absolutely. But it's not as heavy on me as it was when I first figured out what it was, just due to the fact that I didn't know what the hell I was dealing with when I first got it. Mm-hmm. What happened was, it's 2017. I'm working a dead-end job that they're telling me they're going to promote me. They never do it. They're feeding me bullshit, but not really giving me what I want. But I'm comfortable. At this point, I've been with this job for 7 years. I worked this job through college, got my degree. Once I got my degree, I was told I would move up. They gave me a promotion and cut my hours. But once again, I'm comfortable. I'm not really looking for other work. My love life was in complete shambles. Like, I was newly single. Mm-hmm. I was out here, for lack of a better word. I was out here. But anybody who knows me knows that, like, yo, I'm not built like that. I was living a lie. Mm-hmm. Just being real, just being honest. At that point, I was talking about like 3 girls, but not. It's crazy, but not. What's the word? At the same time, like not simultaneously. It was. I would talk to one. She'd back off because she want more. Start talking to somebody else. She'll back off because she want more. Talk to the other one. She'll back off. She want more, and I end up going back to the beginning. Mm-hmm. But then once I realized, I'm like, yo, I can't do that to them because I didn't want to be with any of them, but I cared deeply about them enough to be like, yo, I can't keep doing this. I'm at home one day, and then I used to stay up all night. Like, I would legit, this is how my days went. I had to be work at 7, get off at 3. I go to the gym, stay in the gym for like 4 hours, no gas. Pre-workout, all that. So I got all the energy in the world. I'd get home, shower, turn the game on. I'll play Madden until about like 2 or 3 in the morning. I gotta work at 7. I'm up 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm doing this every day for, I want to say, for about like 8 months. No gas. Mm-hmm. It finally got me one morning. I'm supposed to be working at 7. It's 8:30. So what I didn't know is that my mother used to come in the room and check to see if I had left. She come in the room this morning and she sees I'm still laying down. It's 8:30. Mm-hmm. She goes, Sean, what the hell are you still doing here? I look at my mother and I didn't say a word. I couldn't speak. I didn't know what to say to her because I couldn't put into words what was happening to me. I didn't know. Mm-hmm. All I knew is everything in my brain was telling me, stay in this bed. Don't get up. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to move. My mother's in that room for about like 15 minutes. Like, Sean, talk to me. What's wrong? I just burst out in tears. I didn't know. I couldn't explain it. I'm sitting there crying. She's like, you alright? I'm like, well, I don't know. We go get checked out. That's when they let me know everything. And then once I started to go seek the proper help, now they're diving into everything in my past. Even with me living in the hood, going through crazy hood experiences, my mother had put me in suburban schools and moved us out to the suburbs at an earlier age to where I was able to, like, all right, come out of that. Fine. Mm. But when we lived in Newark, when I used to see wrong, it would be like, you know what? I will always tell myself, I'm going to be the difference. I'm not going to treat people bad. I literally used to, as a kid, I remember always thinking like, yo, I'm just never going to be that person because who wants to live in a world where everyone is shit? And I stuck to that code. Like, y'all know, I was the only nigga in high school looking for love, but everybody was just trying to get their dick wet.
You've always been
so
loving the idea of love. So we talk about this sometimes a little too much.
Listen, so
we ain't gonna go there right now.
And so, but I was like that with everybody. It wasn't just romantic. If I had love in my heart for you, I was going to show you the world. That's just how I was. But when you do that, you do it for everybody who enters, and you care about those people, everybody's not going to respond to that shit well. So when some of those people that I had that love for, whether it was romantic, friendly, any of it, when they did me wrong, to not go off the deep end, I would bury it. Mm-hmm. I would speak to some people about it, but not really speak on it wholeheartedly. And I already dealt with anxiety, just being real, about death. I couldn't comprehend it. I remember it's going back as early as me being 10. That was the first time I really experienced it. I'd seen something about my dog dying. My dog hadn't passed yet. Mm-hmm. But I remember sitting there thinking like, yo, that's going to suck. Then I'm sitting there thinking, shit, that's going to happen to me one day. And my brain just fixated on it to the point where I would legit be in my room freaked out like, damn, if I do this, I do that, I can go. Like,
damn.
Yo, like, it was real.
Sheesh.
So I knew what anxiety was. But I knew how to get my mind off of that, and that was just to stay crazy busy. Start playing sports, hanging out with my friends more, always going upstairs, talking to my brothers and sisters, just being around them, annoying the fuck out of them. Mm-hmm. That kept my mind off of it. So, fast forward, everything I just said, let my feelings for people get the best of me when they do me wrong, and me bearing it and not handling it the proper way. What I would do is, romantically, if a girl did me dirty, I would tell myself, that sucks, that hurts, that's fucked up. She probably had a reason. I wasn't dealing with it properly. So every time that happened to me, it took something out of me each time. Mm-hmm. So to a point where, at that point, me and my ex had went through what we went through. And I told myself, man, I'm about to just be on some fuck the world type shit. But then, since I'm living that lie now, my brain is conflicting with itself. Like, yo, this ain't you. You have underlying issues that you're not working on properly. Mm-hmm. And it all just collided. Like, and it all just came at once. So, in knowing that I have to go get help, I started doing group therapy. Couldn't afford an actual therapist. I'm happy I said that too. I know I'm going on. Just in the world being more aware of mental health, a lot of that shit's a lot cheaper now than what it used to be back in the day. Mm-hmm. Like, I can go see a therapist right now, and the session's probably
you even gotta leave the house.
You don't. They can do Zoom, all that shit now. But now it's like $100, $150. Mm-hmm. When 2017. The guy that I saw first legit tried to charge me $300. I ended up going to this group therapy in Maplewood. The lady that I met there who ran the group sessions put me on to somebody. This lady, she actually moved to Maryland, and me and her still converse from time to time, and she'll give me free sessions. Mm-hmm. Because since it's not all the time, if I email her like I need to talk, she'll answer me. So, but she introduced me to her, and I did her first session. She only charged me $100. I'm like, I can afford that. So, and just fast forward into still fighting it. That's why it sucks now to where I'm like, yo, I'm always posting on social media about I need constant joy in my life. Mm-hmm. That's how I fight it. I do things that make me happy. I keep people around me that make me happy. So it still sucks when people come into it knowing that I'm dealing with these things because I'm very open about it. Mm-hmm. And they still feel like, oh, I can take advantage of that. I can do things to him that I can't do to the next person because he's just going to accept or allow these things. It's not that. My thing is, if I'm coming to you with love, passion, tenderness, why are you giving me your ass to kiss? And that's what ultimately fucked things up for real for me, to where I had to be more aware of my mental health, because there's been a few moments when I went off the deep end. The incident that happened in 2019, that was the fucking scariest moment of my life, because let's be being transparent. Had I not called you that night, it was over for me. I wanted out. And the fact that I allowed everything that was going on to get me that way, with everything that I had already dealt with prior to that, there was no need to be here. I remember texting you, texting the person that was causing the pain for me, turning my phone off. Nobody was going to stop me. As I got to the point to where I was about to do that crazy shit, you know what, let me not call it crazy shit, because people deal with that shit constantly. And if y'all don't know what I'm talking about, I was going to kill myself.
Nah, I mean, but go ahead.
As I got to the spot where that shit was going to happen, I thought about my mother, yo. And I just sat there, I'm like, yo, I would be doing her so dirty. Because no matter what I've been through in this life, I know she's been through more. And I understand people deal with shit differently, but my mother's been through a lot. Why would I do that to her? I turned my phone on. I read your message. I'm like, you know what? Let me drive home. I get home. It's mad police cars outside. The person who was causing me the pain thought that she was being helpful, and she called the police. There's a whole procedure in dealing with people who deal with that. So they had to take me into the hospital. I stayed in the hospital for like a week. They ran a series of tests on me just to see if I was really like out of it. Once they realized I was fine and it was just a momentarily thing, they let me go. And I told myself, yo, I would never allow anyone to ever get me like that again. And it sucked, because in knowing everything to do to combat going off the deep end, I opened myself up to somebody who just was like, I don't give a fuck.
See, and that's part of the issue. Like, one thing I also learned about mental health, bro, we also, while we're working through our shit, have to own up to the mistakes that we make.
Mm-hmm.
We choose wrong people. We're not always perfect. Like, if you make a wrong decision, it's about what can you do the next time around so that this don't happen again.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I'm not gonna get too much into it, but I know all the stories that you're talking about. I know the person that you're speaking about. We're not name dropping, but at the same time, you in retrospect know that that wasn't a person that deserved the things that you was doing.
Not one bit.
And the thing that where I'm going with this is, you my dog. And sometimes we have these conversations off air,
mm-hmm.
but it's the idea that not everybody deserves the things that you do for them. And I don't give a damn if anybody gets upset when I say that, because it's the truth. Just like I accept that some people gonna feel like I'm not worth the time. That's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna feel a way about it. The way I talk to people is how I talk to myself. So it's really not that big a deal for me. But at the same time, I've dealt with people who, you know, I've done mad shit for, and they still, you know, like you said, like for lack of a better term, show their ass. But those people are the people that don't deserve to make you come out of character. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never had, like, got that far, but I've had thoughts of it before. And when I said it to myself, I say, yo, bro, you're allowing somebody else who doesn't control you make you think that you're not good enough to be here. Bro, that's crazy. It's the idea that you allow other people who don't really have a say in your life at all to dictate your feelings and emotions. Again, I'm not picking on you. I'm just saying in general. Is people who who know good and damn well that they're not supposed to do something, but do it anyway. You know what I'm saying? I know you do that shit sometimes. And you know, we just talked about it. I do it sometimes too. Again, it's called cognitive dissonance. You're telling, your brain is telling you that you know you're not supposed to be doing this, but you do it anyway. Mm-hmm. When you do that, I'm speaking to both of us right now. When you do that, that's an L that you gotta hold. If it sounds mad mean, but the thing about it is, this goes back to my original point about the complaining culture. I've said this to you before. Being a good dude or being a good person ain't that that deep. Like, you should always be a good person. Like, be a nice person, be this or whatever. But sometimes, real talk, people just don't understand that level of emotion. Like, if we being real, sometimes you give your all to somebody who doesn't deserve it, and then it makes you go down this crazy path for what reason? Like for me, when it comes to owning up to things or working on my mental health, it's also about understanding where you went wrong. Because I personally think that when it comes to dealing with mental health and getting better, whenever you speak to a psychologist, you speak to a therapist, you speak to your friend, you speak to whoever, saying everything that the other person did wrong is not going to help anything, because there's two people that were involved. You know what I'm saying? So one thing I learned about my mental health is also about admitting when you're wrong. Because if you don't admit when you're wrong, it's never going to change. You'll always keep picking the wrong person. You'll always keep making the wrong moves because you're not learning anything. So for me, mental health, it's not about the coddling either. Like, and I know it sounds mean when I say it, but I've just evolved to a different level in terms of my mental space, my head space. No one is in charge of me but me. It's
not a mean thing. It's accountability.
And not everybody has that.
Exactly.
Not everybody's right, bro. Sometimes you make a decision. It wasn't the right one. You got to hold that L and move on. The problem is sometimes, you're thinking of, like, when we're talking again about mental health, some people make mistakes and go, nah, I can't do that, and they beat themselves up.
And a lot of people get it confused when he says move on, and I already know what he means by it. He's not saying move on to a point where you're acting like it didn't happen or you're forgetting about it. Moving on means accepting what it is. Now you have to do something about it.
That's it.
Go get help. Don't lie to yourself that, I'm okay. You're not. And it's okay not to be okay sometimes.
It's okay to be upset. It really is okay. But don't stay upset.
Yeah.
Because that's when everything gets worse.
Everything.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I talk to people who, again, individuals who are a little bit further along in life than I am. And one thing that I've learned from them, you can be emotional. Like, you can be in your feelings, but staying in your feelings is why people end up going down these rabbit holes of negativity and all of this other stuff. So because I've talked to people about, like, mental health and, anxiety and stress, and when I tell people it's something that I do believe is real, but I do believe if you work at it, you can not let it exist in your life anymore. I honestly and truthfully believe that. Because anxiety and all of these things stem from our brain. You know what I'm saying? So you can't say, give me a medication to help me with something with my brain. If I'm depression and all of that, yes, you feel it in your body and shit, but it's in your mind. It's the things that you're constantly thinking about.
That's why the people who end up taking those medications don't ever, like, get better, because now they're depending on that medication to make them forget instead of actually
or
trying to
alleviate the pain.
Exactly.
You know what I'm
now, don't get it twisted. For those who have to go that route, I get it. Because sometimes it's too much. It goes back into
it goes back. Everybody's as strong as the words that I'm saying now, which I understand.
And it goes back to what I was saying last time.
See, we're not going to do that. See, this is you dragging it.
Nah, but we're not going to go there. But my point being is, everyone's mental is not as strong as the next person's. So you can't sit up here and go, well, I wouldn't do that, so you're wrong for doing it. No. Me and you know that we would never go that route. Mm-hmm. But I know listen, when I took the group sessions, the people I've met, they were so happy that I was there. Because at the time, I was 26 going on 27. I was the youngest person there by 13 years. The next person close to me always said, in age, used to always say to me, I wish I had the balls to come here that soon. I would not have to be on half the shit that I'm on. And I'm watching this guy. If you just have a conversation with him, you would think nothing's wrong. In his bag, he had about like 5 different medications.
And the craziest part about it is, I don't even mean to cut you off, You know what? Go ahead, finish that.
No.
I don't want to go ahead, finish that.
He and the oldest person in that session, because we all went to this specified session, she was 52. And I asked her how long she's been dealing with what she's been dealing with. She told me the first time she realized something was wrong was when she was 16. But what she did was she became promiscuous. She was honest with me. Mm-hmm. She used sex as a way to keep her mind off of things, to a point where she slept with any and everybody. Ruined relationships. Mm-hmm. Ended her own relationships. It got to a point when she's older, she's alone, she's like, I can't keep living like this. So that's when she thought to go get help. But she waited a lot later than normal people would. And it sucked because half of her life is, like, just being honest, half of her life is gone, wasted, when she, and this is her words, not mine, to where she could have did something really about it. And that's why everybody in that session was so happy that I was there, because they're like, yo, you're doing something about it now. Well, a lot of people would just be like, oh, I'm still young. It'll figure itself out. Mm-hmm. I'm happy that it's spoken on more. A lot of one thing when I first started being open about what I dealt with, one of my, I'm not even gonna call him that, somebody I used to associate with, looked me dead in my face and was like, yo man, you just need to get over it.
Yeah, because again, some people, no, go ahead.
A lot of other people used to be like, yo, you should just pray on it. I'm like, yo, I believe in God. Am I religious, like, to a point where, you know, like, I go to church every Sunday? No. But I do believe in God. I believe in the Lord. My thing was, obviously, I'm praying every day, and that's not working. Mm-hmm. It helps some, but it's not enough. So, obviously, I need more than that. And that's when the group sessions, me going to see a therapist, that's when they all started to help. So, when I'm telling certain church folk what I'm doing, you don't need that. You don't need that. If it's helping me, mm-hmm. how can you look me in my face and tell me I don't need it? So that's another reason why I'm so happy that it's spoken on more. It's taught now, so people won't just think that, oh, I deal with mental health. Oh, these people are crazy. And I'm also happy it's spoken on, because there used to be a lot of people who used to be like, oh, I'm depressed, and really be nothing wrong with them. They just be sad about one thing and just try to put out to the world that everything's bothering me. And they're taking the light away from the people who really need the help. So,
again, like, because when it comes to it, not everybody, like you said, not everybody's the same. Not everybody can just wake up and go, you know, here's what's wrong, here's what I need to do. But personally, I feel the first step to getting a handle on your mental health and getting back to the good side of things is, again, it's going to sound like, you know, kind of scary, but you got to put a spotlight on the things that's causing you the problem. Because honestly, like I said, most of the things that we deal with is because we don't have a solution. That's why they stick around. That's why, you know, people don't come up with things to do. They stay stagnant. They stay complacent because they've accepted that this is just what it is. And again, I haven't dealt with everything, so I can't talk on everything. But I know when it comes to mental dexterity, I personally believe everybody on this planet has the ability to, you know, get through their problems. But if I believe it for everybody, I'm not everybody, so I can't do it for everybody. But I believe everybody has a way to get around those things that are might be holding them back or keeping them complacent. Really, those things revolve around fear or things that, you know, we need to go through, but we're scared to go through. So again, like you said, some of us get promiscuous, some of us dive into liquor, some of us dive into video games. Like some people run from it, and that's why it gets so much worse. Yo, you got to look yourself in the mirror sometimes and say, everything is not okay, but that's okay. Because now I know that not everything's okay. Well, what can I do to change it? What can I do to fix this? What is going to be different this time around? You know, again, in my mindset might be a little different. So somebody listening to this might say, nah, he's just talking all this. He don't know. I mean, I might not know it all, but I do know that I went through my own version of depression, talking to therapists and psychologists, dealing with stress and anxiety. One of the things that I've learned about myself that I know has helped me is putting a spotlight on those moments where I could use some work. What can I do to help myself be happier? Not who can I look for to help me be happy, or what can I do to make myself happy, or what puts a smile on my face without hurting another person, kind of thing. So your mental health is very important, but you also can't rely on everyone to help you fix it. Mm-hmm. It's going to again sound mean, but it's your mental health. You know, so we have to all find ways to get back to center for ourselves, whether that is speaking to somebody else or a therapist or somebody who can help you out along those lines. But I believe that if everybody just finds a way to work on those things, the things that they might be lacking in, or, you know, areas where they might have fallen short, or, you know, areas where they feel like they're, you know, it's all this person's fault. Those kind of things, sometimes you might have to look inward and go, okay, well, what can I fix for myself to make sure that things like this don't continuously happen? You know, that's another way to help keep your peace, kind of thing. At least that's how I feel.
Yeah, that's what it is, man. And I think for this episode, we got a lot out, man. I got a little teary-eyed at the middle of that, giving that story, man, because
I wasn't gonna say nothing.
That shit it doesn't affect me as much as it used to before. But when I go into telling it, it just bothers me to the point where I really allow that person to really like get in
and
here.
The fact, I ain't gonna hold you, bro. The fact that you still got stuff popping up means that there's remnants, bro.
Nah, but in a sense,
and that's other things that you got to work through.
In a sense, on that, just off of the beginning of this, where I told you how my week's been, that has a lot to do with how I'm feeling now, because I'm not correlating the two incidents, but at the same time, it was something very similar to where I'm like, damn, like, I'm doing the right things to keep myself away from it, but I'm not doing everything I need to do to keep myself away from it. And I tell people all the time now, if someone comes into my life and do something dirty to me, I'm more aware now to know that I won't blame them for it. I'll put it on myself, because that means I allowed them to do it and I put them in the position to do it. Mm-hmm. Because people show their hands all the time.
Absolutely. Somebody shows you who they are, believe them the first time.
I say it often. I literally tweeted about it this morning. Anybody who puts themselves in a position to lose you don't really want you. Mm-hmm. You're just there for whatever reason you're there, and it's momentarily. I be knowing that sometimes. I'll still allow myself to give that person the benefit of the doubt and be like, you know what? They're not the same as everybody else.
You hard-headed.
So when it happens, that's why it hits me as hard as it do. Because honestly, like, I'm going to twist it. I've done wrong to people, but never to an extent to where it's like, yo, this is going to be a really traumatic experience for you. Like, so for somebody to come into your life knowing that you feel deeply, you don't lie about that. They allow you to get to that point and still be like, well, fuck you, it's about me. It's dirty.
Yo, man, that's a whole nother topic we could talk about. People suck. That could be a whole nother topic. We don't go into that.
Listen, man.
My people know that I don't mean that about y'all, but people in general, yeah, y'all suck. And anybody can take that how they feel, because, hey, it is what it is. I could be put into that category too. Like I said, y'all, I talk the shit because I talk to myself the same exact way. So next episode gonna be a little different. Mm-hmm. We never know. It's like, nah, we know what it's gonna be. We just ain't telling y'all right now.
Nope.
Because y'all don't need to know what that is.
Mind your business. It's like, now, we love
y'all. I mean, you know. But with all that being said, you know, I don't know if you got anything else for them, Shawnee Sean.
Nah, yo, I think we hit a lot on this episode. I think we good. This is the perfect time to leave it where it is. Once again, you're chilling with the Educated Brothers podcast.
Yes, sir.
We'll see y'all next week. No Talent Beats. Play us out.